Good day, brothers and sisters. Jimmie Schwinn and Master Lama Rasaji, Brother Rasaji here with the Patriot and the Lama Show episode 49 today. I mean, we're coming up to a year. We're really excited. The new economy. We're all hearing about the Great Reset, the reevaluation, the RV, and we're going to get some information today from our favorite Lama, Brother Rasaji, or as we call him in the dojo at the Circle of Life, Master Lama Rasaji. Some really exciting things going on, folks. I know there's a lot of folks that are out there fearing what's going on, but hey, we're all part of the CIA, Creators in Action, right? We're all part of Creators in Action, and we're here for a purpose in this time, at this time, in this moment of history on this planet's timeline to make a big difference. And today we're going to talk about the Great Reset. We're going to talk about the RV and what's going on. Make sure that you share this on Facebook. Again, we're going to keep it. Share it on Facebook, share it on from YouTube, wherever you share it. Make sure to share it, sow those good seed. We're going to keep it clean, but always you can go to the Circle of Life, the Rasaji.com website, sign up for the free community, which is only now takes you your email address. And in there, the latest from the Lamasery, all the episodes where we don't have to worry about whether Facebook likes it or not, or YouTube likes it or not. You can get full detail. And again, if you're not a free community member of Circle of Life, by all means, become one. And I will show you how to do that towards the end of this episode today. So let's hear from our favorite Lama today. How you doing, Brother Rasaji?
I'm doing great, Brother Jimmie. I'm excited about the subject matter. I'm excited about, wow, Patriot Lama, almost a year old. That's pretty fascinating. And seems like it went by, brother, in one big breath. And I mean, coming out of yesterday's mastermind webinar with the Sage of the South, Joseph Land, that was great. They were asking us questions about this. So it's been buzzing. It's been all over Wall Street Journal, but the Lamasery knows what's really going on. So nice to be with you, brother.
Yeah, and when the folks can, position themselves properly to make sure they become part of this greatest wealth transfer from the wicked to the righteous in the history of this planet, that's what we want to help them do also. So again, at the end of the video, I'm going to show you just on the free platforms that we put together for everybody on Rasaji.com, Circle of Life, and MastermindWebinars.com. We've got folks talk about, building the mindset, the personal development, the spiritual development and connection to the creator, and then also learning how to fish and build multiple streams and be ready for this shift that's happening, because it's happening. No one here is going to stop it from happening. It's how you position yourself, whether you'll be on the right side or the wrong side of it. Okay. So it's exciting to, have this episode here. We're going to get into the questions, and we will take questions at the end. Again, make sure that you're sharing. I'm going to go ahead and share right now. Make sure that you're sharing on your profile. The more people you get to watch this, the better we are. We want to get more people vibrating in a higher vibration. That's what's going to help also bring about heaven on earth, getting more and more people vibrating in a very positive way and actually going down that path of their destiny that they were created for. So we love you all. We give love and blessing to you, but we're going to get right into these questions now with our favorite Lama, Master Lama Rasaji. So Master Lama Rasaji, Brother Rasaji, we hear a lot of people talking about this RV out there. And, a lot of people have been giving dates and dates and dates and different things about, $100 trillion Zimbabwe going to make you billions in the bank or millions in the bank and all these other things. And you and I both know Brother Joseph and other people that do Forex currency trading. So we know what currencies are, going to be moving forward. But also you've talked before about 30 different countries already having currencies printed up that are going to be backed by gold. So first question here. And first of all, let's answer this question. What is the Great Reset and why is it occurring?
Well, every so often there's a minor one that happens, and a lot of times it's so minor, Jimmy, it's between the relationship between one country and another that's actually driven by trade. And so currency is revaluated in a sense to either take a tax off of import and export or put one on. And sometimes they can't do that. So the way they get around that is they revaluate their currency in relation to that. If we were having that with, us say, between Britain and the USA, maybe that we would adjust the US dollar, or they would adjust the British sterling, right? Or the euro, because a lot of the European countries are still under the euro, as you know. So what people have to understand, the trillions of dollars that exchange hand in the forex is a huge amount, and it feeds the equity markets. It feeds the bond market, which is another way of saying debt instruments, because bond markets are primarily debt instruments like your treasury bills. So it's interesting to note that in America in the last 2 or 3 weeks, there were more US Treasury notes being dumped than we've seen in 20 years. Now, the point is that the revaluation is already begin happening. Everybody keeps talking about a date when almost like something miraculously from heaven, God's going to come down with some kind of wand and change all the currency, and everything's going to be set up on this Nasara and Jasara and all of this stuff. But the point is that while they're sitting there trying to figure out what's happening, it's already happening. When you look around at how the central bank basically has is not as effective in the East European blocks, and not quite as much influence as they had just 2 to 3 years ago. That's a huge move that tells you it's happening. It's very interesting to know that precious metals are being by your 30 largest investors, which include, as you know, some countries. The Dragon family, also in China, has been inquiring a lot of gold and silver. And that's telling us what. And then, of course, you're seeing where Russia is saying, we want something backed by precious metal in order for us to sell oil to you. Well, that's interesting because that is a huge step. It's saying that the petrodollar against a precious metal dollar is not valued the same. Well, what does that mean? That means the revaluation, at least there, has already started. We know now that 35 to 40 countries are in the process of getting currency out, or at least they've printed the currency getting ready. But we also know that in some of these countries, the silver and gold, they've been gathering silver and gold for a decade or more now, Jimmy. So people don't need to be waiting for it. It's now let's talk about how we can counteract. In business, they have this saying, Jim, that the trend is your friend, right? Well, I remember my yoga master said to me, whether the collective unconsciousness creates a wave or the Holy Spirit through Abba creates a wave, in 3D, a wave's a wave. You can either ride the wave like a surfer rides the wave, or you can go out there and try to get over the bonsai pipeline. And now that 16-foot wave just comes right down on top of you. So, what we're going to try to do today is we've established it's here, it's happening right now. So, how long is the transition going to fully take? And then how can we best position ourselves to benefit not only from the exchange and transmittal of wealth, But we're going to talk later, Jimmy, and especially I think you should talk a lot about what Mastermind Webinars is doing about creating brand new wealth, because that's where we're going to be able to also help a lot of people. Back to you, Jim.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And again, the RV, the reevaluation of the currencies, there will be an adjustment on many currencies out there. Not, I again have some friends of mine that are involved at, now they say it, I have not seen it, but say that they have NDAs with certain government agencies about this whole RV thing, right? But I've heard a lot of other people talking about these Zimbabwe things that you buy on eBay and you're going to get billions put into your bank or millions, which I just have a hard time, looking at going from one, system that's built on sand in, financial system into another one that is built on sand. And then you look at the move from Russia, from Putin, how he now backed the ruble by gold and how he's demanding that everybody pay for his oil in money backed by gold, which is the ruble. And then these 30 other countries that you've talked about, not in detail, but there's about 30 countries now that have all this gold that they've been purchasing and building up in their reserves to bring their currency out and peg it on gold. Well, the writing's on the wall. I mean, also, we can't talk about it here, but what you were giving out on the latest from the Lama series at Rasaji.com in the Circle of Life community, they can watch the whole thing about what's going on, in the United States also with the gold and the positioning of it and all that. So, you know, if there's smoke, there's fire, and there's definitely smoke all over the place. So there's fire here, and it's all about people positioning themselves, in the right way, not panicking, not buying into all the fear. Look, it's nice to be awake and know what really has been going on in this world for the last 100 years, 500 years, 1,000 years. We've been in the industrial age for a long time, and we're moving out of it. And it's going to be more about, like it was 1,000+ years ago, more about why are we here? Why are we all here together? What is our purpose? And what are we here to do together as a people? It's not about a few people putting all the wealth into their pockets and owning all the natural resources and controlling everything. It's about us as humanity working together to clean up our ocean. I mean, my wife was taught. We were sitting there the other day, and they were having something about the plastic in the ocean and this microplastic. Okay, meaning the micro bits of plastic that the fish and the life are breathing in through their gills and however they're breathing. Now this is more than every star in every galaxy that they can see. These microplastic things in our water. So I look at the debt around the world, and this great reset looks like they want to cancel out the debt, but also you got these potential wars. Well, war is going on right now. There's always conflict on this planet. I mean, there's been conflict since I'll be 57 next month. There's been conflict every single year I've been alive on this planet. And, sometimes that conflict is created in order to cancel out debt. Okay. So, this great reset, let me ask you a question. And you did say the RV has started. Okay. We already know it started. We see inflation happening right now. If you pick up Harry Dent's book about demographics, the United States is going to have a lower, yearly revenue base based on just demographics alone. Forget everything else, just based on demographics alone. That's going to happen. But that doesn't mean anyone has to suffer. That doesn't mean anyone can't prosper. That has the information needed that we're going to continue to provide ongoing for them. And again, keeping it clean. Well, let's just say keeping it the way that we have to keep it here on Facebook and YouTube. But then when you get into the members area where you can go into a little bit more detail, because I know you're a firm believer and I am in the freedom of speech. And hopefully we're going to be seeing some things happen to the social media platforms that are going to open up, people to be able to, have their First Amendment right here in the United States for sure. But number two, what does the RV look like? Like in your opinion, what is it? This whole reevaluation. We got the inflation. I think maybe we'll eventually see some deflation because things are happening. We got gas prices went up, then they went down a little bit. Now they're going back up. Kind of explain what this whole RV thing looks like as much as you can. Again, you do more in the back office, so
Yeah, I'd be happy to, Jimmy. People that's been around for a while, especially if you were here in the mid to upper 70s, when President Jimmy Carter was in office, we remember very similar patterns going on right now. There were people on both sides of the fence, which there always are about oil and oil production, but there are different times where it would come above the surface and they would argue about it. And then drastic measures were taken. And in the drastic measures that were taken, we saw similarities to the exact pattern we've seen in the last 24 months now. And that is that the actions they took drove up fuel prices and interest rates started to climb. I shared with you guys yesterday, bought my first condo in the 70s, and it was 18% interest. Are we going to get back to 18% interest? Probably not. But the point being is, every time an interest rate goes up a point, it's costing people completely in the food chain. Just like, an increase of, 10, 20% at the pump, it might not be called a tax, but to a diesel truck driver who's driving from, New York to Florida, you better believe when that driver is breaking his back to make 75 to $85,000 a year, and all of a sudden one of his biggest costs just went up. How about the airline industry? Imagine what that's doing, but we saw similar things. The other thing that we saw is after a couple of years, things changed. The key of it here is that might be where it differs a little bit, Jim. And that is, I think certain assets, and this is what the Lama series is saying, will purchase certain other assets. The proper portfolio to be thinking about is maybe instead of going to a financial planner saying, I need to have a financial portfolio, you might want to look at it through the Lama series eyes and see more what's an energy portfolio, an intrinsic portfolio look like. Because the way the Lama series is talking, we need to start viewing all kind of assets as a form of currency. We have a tendency as a human race, we're kind of lazy in thinking. And we have a tendency that we want one catch all answer that seems to cover everything. In other words, okay, the US dollar could be replaced. What's it going to be replaced? Is it going to be called a dollar? Right? So we want to trade this for that. When in reality, we could see precious metals being used to purchase certain assets, electronic currencies being used to purchase other assets. I mean, like for instance, Musk saying that buying Teslas, they're one of the few car companies that's up right now. If you look at the Wall Street Journal, but he's saying, I'm accepting electronic currency for Tesla. And we got Putin saying, well, if your currency's backed by gold, we would rather have gold for oil. Now, you see, this is what the Lamasery is saying. So if I was to build a portfolio randomly where different elements of nature and different intrinsic value, including cash, real estate, precious metals, electronic currency. You want to know what it looks like? That's kind of how it's shaping up. Does it play out in a few months? No, it plays out in a couple of years. Could
Yes.
be as many as 5 to 10 years. But to say, has it started? Well, you'd be already behind the 8 ball if you're looking for it to start. But it's not too late to become very conscious and spiritually connected, Jimmie, and especially with discernment, and then listen to people like a Joseph Land, listen to people like yourselves that have built businesses, people who consciously know where to place assets. But the Lamasery says it's not going to be a catch-all that we're used to. A dollar's not going to eventually buy everything you want it to buy. It's not that the dollar is going to disappear overnight like doom and gloom haysayers might think. It's that the dollar's value towards certain assets is going to deteriorate. Then electronic assets are going to seek some of that vacuum, and then precious metals are going to seek other, and real estate and different levels of real estate. For instance, farmland is one thing toward someone buying, a warehouse building that can generate passive revenue. That's another thing. All of these assets should start to be looked at as forms of currency, right? And so as you look at that, that's going to be how it looks like. Back to you, Jim.
And there's going to be a big move to localization. Community gardens, localization, big move towards that. One of the things that everyone has, learned, hopefully, is that we depend way too much on just on in time everything. And we depend way too much on other countries. Well, if you live here in the United States, and by the way, I feel this way about every country. I feel that every country needs to have its manufacturing capabilities to operate its necessities, right? I mean, making sure that the citizens have the necessities of life, and that is self-produced within that country itself. Everyone needs to have their sovereign nation, and a sovereign nation can't be sovereign if it has to depend on other nations around the world for their survival based on things that are manufactured. So I think that you're going to see a major shift in manufacturing going back into individual nations that are sovereign, and then going into localization and not having all of this consolidation of assets into just a few thousand people, whether they're conglomerate corporations or whatever, that this is going to shift. And one of the things also in this new economy is people really got to look at where they're spending their money, because are you truly funding the wrong companies? It's like what we were talking about. I had talked to a gentleman that was a sheriff and for 8 years, and the only reason he didn't stay longer was because there was term limits, and also a commissioner of a county. And he was talking about that most people, when they do local, elections, they really don't. They just check off the box based on the name recognition, and they really don't study who the people are. So I really think the local side of the equation, both with the leadership in the community and in localization itself, is really something that's going to be big on top of everything that's changing with the currency. Of course, precious metals we know are being suppressed. Okay. The real value of them are much higher than what they're at. And, gold and silver have been money for thousands of years. What an ounce of gold could buy you 1,000 years ago, an ounce of gold can buy you today. So it seems to stay pretty stable in its purchasing power, silver and gold. And again, I'm not a financial advisor, and I know at one time you were, Brother Lama, and now you're not. But at the end of the day, you got to make sure that you've got all your stuff, sorted as we go through this transition of massive opportunity. I know it's going to be for some people massive pain, but for others that are positioning themselves properly, it's going to be massive opportunity. And I'm glad to have our folks here that watch the Patriot and Lama show, that are part of the Circle of Life, and now the Mastermind webinars is up, and we're going through everything that I've done over the years. Everything that's evergreen is going in there, and what we're bringing to the table as we start rolling this thing out in May is going to help people learn how to build multiple streams of income and make a living by living through transfer spending from the wicked to the righteous. And one of the things I want to ask you, brother Rasaji, you've been doing this for 52 years. You were on Mount Kailash, I think, in Tibet or India, Tibet. Mount Kailash, that's in China, Tibet, right? Mount Which mountain is in where the
And
lamasery is?
Kailash is in India. Kailash is in India, and but I studied in Tibet, in Darchen, Tibet.
Yeah, Darchen, and Darchen has some mountains with some very powerful portals. In
Yeah,
itself is a portal, but you see, I almost feel like we're we're really getting in. We're talking about the Great Revival, right? And you got a lot of people say the Great Awakening, right? The Great Revival, and you've had the Great Revivals, you had the Great Awakening. When did this Great Awakening start? Well, some people say, oh, that just started, a couple years ago. But you gave a good case that Great Revival actually started, or that Great Awakening, you know, actually started, when Christ was on this planet, from the crucifixion to the resurrection to the ascension, and what happened afterwards really was the start of that Great Awakening. And there's been times where it's picked up, and but now I see an acceleration with the energy hitting this planet like I've never felt before. I mean, I literally can close my eyes, through what I've learned from you over the last year in this lifetime with the Tai Chi Gong exercises and my meditation, my connection with the creator. I literally can close my eyes, relax, slow everything down, and breathe, and move my hands through and actually feel the energy going through my fingers. Okay. And I feel that there's more and more hitting this planet every day. And that, like you said, some of these people that are out there, we call them the false prophets out there preaching what they don't even know. I've watched their predictions for the last year and a half almost, one date setting after another date setting, nothing ever happening. And yet I've watched and listened since you and I have gotten back together as business partners here in this lifetime, what the Lama series has been putting out, and they've been dead on. I mean, and I've got other people I listen to that have been, very, very close to being dead on, but not like the Lama series. And the fact that they've been around 3,000 plus years, they're wired into everything. I mean, every government, every major conglomerate corporation, every religion, everything they got the llamas in there, and they got their people in there at some of the highest levels, right there close to the highest levels, monitoring stuff. So that's one of the things I love about what we're doing together as business partners. And the fact that when you were doing through prayer and meditation, you and I come to the latest from the Lamasery, right? Because we were seeing all these people um putting out all this false information, and they're charging for it. And we're like, okay, you know what? We're going to, in meditation, the creator downloads this latest from the Lamasery. You and I talk about it, we discuss it, and you say, hey, listen, we're going to put it into the free community. I want everybody to have access to this, even though I can't talk about all this stuff, publicly on the bigger social media platforms. I can put it into this, and people can get access so they can position themselves, because The most important thing is being aware of what's happening. If you go like this and you're blinded to what's going on, how do you position yourself properly? Besides the mindset, besides the personal development, besides the spiritual development and connection, if you are not paying attention to this other stuff, you are letting yourself down and your family down, because you need to be on the right side of this. You need to be one of the stewards where the Heavenly Father dumps so much blessing into your lap that you're like, okay, where do you want me to, what do you want me to do? What should I do here? I mean, I'm at that point. Okay. And it's going to only, from your discernment, from my discernment, and other people that have come and spoken to me about what they're feeling, what the creator's telling them about what is going on with me. This is only like a drop in the bucket where we're headed. And I'm really humbled by that. I'm going to be the best servant I can, steward I can be and servant. But I know we need these folks that are watching live here and watching in the recording. We need your help, because we're talking about massive amounts of wealth. Not only, forget about the fiat currency. Let's talk about the assets of this planet. Okay, the land, the gold, the silver, all of these assets, and the fact that you said, brother Rasaji, about Solomon's treasure. Talk about that a little bit before we get into the next question, because you've mentioned that, and I think the folks need to hear that again. What you're feeling and what the Lama is feeling about Solomon's treasure.
Oh, a good part of that treasure was hidden and buried for many, many years. It was moved in different arcs from time to time, and the lamasery at different times would have awareness of where those moves were happening, being around 3,000 years. And as you said, Jimmie, having people around, from what we understand, only about 10% of that has been moved. That means 90% of it has not transferred, and it is in the process of transferring to the children of light, the ones that show Abba that they are a spiritual, really awakened. You're going to see other findings like we found years ago with the Dead Sea Scroll. You're going to find, the Grail Chalice. Look for it to show up before too much longer. There's a lot of things that not only have, as you know, Jimmie, physical value, but they have intrinsic and spiritual value and spiritual significance. We're going to also find that there are silver and gold mines that have never been found before that are going to show up. That's a huge deal. There is going to be some stones and other precious metals that are going to be recovered, that go all the way back to the time of the Ramayana, which was about the last golden age, which is about 20 to 30,000 years ago. So
Wow.
that's some things for people to significantly think about. Then, because of the internet, when we went through the last test that was similar to this, we know that it was about 12 to 16 years ago when the banking industry got hit because of the derivative markets, and we know how all the markets went in and had an adjustment. We're going to see an adjustment in the equity markets that's going to be similar. Uh, but just like real estate, not every asset is going to be hit. This is going to be a the time where people have to know what is happening and when it's happening. They have to be pertinent to timely information. One of the main reasons, Jimmie, we started Ladies from the Lamasery is because, most of the time I can pick a day, but as you know, the other day, the Holy Spirit spoke to me and said, "This needs to get out right now."
Yeah.
And it was breaking news, and people might remember several episodes ago on the Patriot and the Lama and mastermind webinars, I started talking about Shanghai a week before anybody in any major publication
Oh
started
yeah.
talking. And not only did we do that, bring that to the public, Jimmy, when nobody else was? But on top of that, how they've suppressed the story since, when the actuality is that the people of Shanghai won a battle over communist China without one shot being fired. People need to know. You talk about street. See, I want you to think about Shanghai for a second. Now, imagine New York City with about 9 million people times three. So imagine now New York City with 27 million people with almost the same collective multicultural that you see in New York, representing over 30 countries. So just imagine. And they basically told the communist regime they were trying to shut them down again. They were trying to show that they could shut them down, reestablish mask mandates, vaccine passport, shut down manufacturing,
Little
everything, right?
bit. Oh, gotta
Yeah.
gotta
Well,
caution the llama here.
yeah.
Full
So
details of all of
yeah,
this is in the free community under channels on latest from the llama series. Okay.
well, this will give you guys a taste of what you'll get over at Rasaji.com. But the key of it is that it's kind of like, you remember about 30, 40 years ago, a person would retire after 40, 50 years with a company, and they'd maybe get the gold watch. And then they would go and live 5 or 10 years, and most people would check out after that because there wasn't a second level. Who would ever think that a 65-year-old would be working at a fast food stand or bagging groceries at the
Terrible.
groceries just in order to survive?
To
Now, in
survive.
third world countries, that's been going on forever. As you know, the Lama spent 10 years of my life. I'm one of the few Westerners that spend 10 years of my life in training living in third world countries. And I've seen this interaction.
Yep.
And they have to pull together to make ends meet, that because they're forced to do so. You have 3 or 4 adults in one household pulling together to make it work. Now that has shifted to a reality. Now, where we want to take that reality is to educate that newly workforce and say, you don't have to just retire and go work for a grocery store and die 10 years later, that the best years of your life can still be in front of you, because we're going to teach you how to get healthy, spiritually connected, and we're going to teach you how to create a business on the internet that would dwarf the concept of you bagging groceries or flipping hamburgers. See, I
That's so
think,
that's so disrespectful to our folks that have been around that long, that most are such a blessing with so much wisdom, kindness, and love. You even said, it's disgraceful. As human beings, we should be very embarrassed that we treat our folks that have more years than us like that. It's wrong. And so, it's so interesting to see that what we're doing here, the fruits of the labor of the circle of life on Rasaji.com, the testimonials coming in of the transformations and all of that happening. And folks, if any of you are on Circle of Life, you're doing the 45-day challenge, or you're part of the Circle of Life community, put in the comments what's happening, what's going on for you. But as I see more and more videos coming in, more and more testimonials coming in, and then the launching of the mastermind webinars, to be able, even just the free versions of both things, the amount of value that you're giving to people to help them transition. We're really, I look at both of these platforms is, like we talked about, this perfect infinity sign, this eight just moving and flowing, because you got both sides circles of this thing, the circle of life and mastermind, and the fruits of the labor of these two things and the team around it, and then watching the transformation of the people. It's amazing. And now we're getting ready to launch the ability where people will be able to share that free system and literally build multiple streams of income by sharing the free system. And then seeing these transformations that are happening for people that you don't see. And listen, folks, my background, I've been involved in a lot of different opportunities as far as building businesses online. I've been doing it for over 20 some since 1995. When 1996 came and they started doing pay per click, Jimmie, the Patriot, was on there doing it. Okay. And I've done lots of systems, hundreds of systems I've been involved in, and I've never seen the testimonials that I've been seeing coming from the Rasaji.com circle of life. I've never seen it. And it's so important for this stuff that's coming out of the Lamasery, the truth, again, the holy scriptures that we all have access to, whatever religion it's in, it's suppressed. Okay. There's a lot missing, right? So this information is coming through our brother, our favorite Lama over here. And these systems are helping people, and you're actually seeing real fruit of the labor, because we need more people to be ready for this other side of the equation, for the receiving side of this wealth transfer. And we're in overdrive here, folks. So I hope that you are in overdrive. And the most important thing that you work on right now is yourself and your connection with the creator. I'll wake up in the morning, get up about 4:30, get out of bed, don't just rush out, but I'll spend the first 2 hours, 2.5 hours in the morning in prayer and meditation, and then making sure I'm getting my walking, exercising in before I get my day started. Well, that's how I start my day. And I wouldn't miss it for anything. And the opportunity and the discernment just keeps increasing and increasing and increasing. So it's working. So again, if you've been through the 45-day challenge, or you're in the community and you've seen positive results, or you've seen negative results, put it in the comments. Let people know. So when they're watching these videos, they see those comments, and your comment can help bring them to save there's things going on, folks, that we don't come out publicly and tell you about, that are amazing stuff. I mean, some of it you wouldn't even believe it. Okay. You wouldn't even believe it. So let's get in. I think you've answered some of this. How does the RV affect that people personally and their families? Maybe you want to keep on touching on that a little bit more before we move to question number 4. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I think the real key is going to be is that, you have to understand that what I said earlier about retirees working, you have to understand it wasn't all driven by an economy. It was not like somebody did some magic wand and all of a sudden all these people are working in places. Part of it was driven by each individual's self, and that is, if you go back to an earlier publication that we did on birth trauma and death urge, a lot of people were driven in the old days to retire. And within 5 or 10 years, the percentage of people that checked out because there wasn't any purpose left for them, because they didn't feel like they were going to be on the planet, or maybe their dad and mom died the same year. I mean, I've been dealing with an issue with my own mom, because my own mom started this year approaching the same year that her mother passed away. And I could see the symptom after the symptom of her activating her death urge, where there was a part of her that was just giving up. So the key of it, Lamasery says, is that we make a decision to leave the planet, and then we create socially acceptable symptoms to make it okay. And that's where the mindset. Now, what about dominion? And what about having years as old as trees? Both of these are quotes from scripture. So if we're supposed to have dominion over everything that exists on this planet, and then let our days be as old as trees, Well, I don't know about you. Which tree you talking about? A maple tree, or how about a California redwood that could live 700, 800 years? How about a banyan tree in Africa, India, and China that I've seen them 2 to 3,000 years old. I've meditated on a tree not far from Mount Kalish that was over 2,500 years old. A Volkswagen Beetle would completely disappear behind the trunk of the tree, let alone the branches of the tree. And when you put your back to a tree right there for about 30 minutes to an hour, you're going to walk away with one thing for sure. One of the most powerful metaphysical experiences you ever had. And you're not going to have a problem with enlightenment. You're going to understand why the Buddha spent many, many days sitting with his back to the tree, because that tree is more balanced than 90% of the human beings on this planet today. So it's all about balance. And when I practice the Tai Chi Gong that we do in the 45-day challenge, everything starts to come into balance. And all of a sudden, you're going to learn to move like a tree. And you think, how does a tree move, Lama Rasaji? It moves very slowly. And hidden in that slow movement of the tree is one of the secrets of longevity. And see, if we could humble ourselves enough to begin to learn from children, learn from people who have been on the earth 60 plus years. If we could really humble ourselves to spend enough time in nature like all the great sages did. See, it's not by not that the founder of Reiki, the founder of Aikido, the founder and the source behind most of the world religions, the messengers that were the messengers before those religions, what do they have all in common? They spent enough time in nature uncovering the truths that the human race forgot. And it starts by humbling yourself. It starts by emptying your cup, not thinking you know everything. You know, I see sometimes in the patterns, some people will make a comment, and it's like they want to make a point and be right more than learn what they're here to learn. I'm thinking to myself, how are you ever going to get beyond that ego state of mind? It's more important to be right than it is to truly humble yourself to learn. Man, you got a long ways to go if that's your mindset. That's not even close to emptying your cup. We have an old statement right over walking in the front door of the Lamasery. It says, from Boganathar Lao Tzu, I must empty my cup before entering to receive the knowledge of divinity. Or don't enter. Or don't enter. Right? So this is why we have to do mirror meditation.
Yes.
Mirror meditation is unbelievable. You
We
put
got some people
yourself.
that done that here. Shout it out in the comments. Sorry for interrupting, but shout it out in the
No,
comments.
go ahead. Back to you, Jimmie. Go
We've
back
got
back to
some
you.
amazing things that have been happening with folks that have been doing the mirror meditation, brothers and sisters. I mean, amazing things happening, even where they start to see their own energy and their aura around themselves. But it really, it really it does something for you, and you need to do that because you got to know you believe what you're saying. Belief is a very powerful thing. You have to believe is truth, and of course, it needs to be true, right? But one of the things that is going on too, yeah, keep on putting that down. Love that. Put 45-day challenge and what it's done for you and where you're going. The llama will be right back. I think he ran real quick to grab something. Here he is. He's back. So, one of the things that we're doing this thing for, one of the big market demands that's happening right now in life, when we're setting up the Mastermind 360, the very first video that we have webinar in there, which we did on the Mastermind webinar, was myself, Brother Rasaji, and Brother Joseph, who was with us the first hour there, really getting into how you step into your power in a true way. And you need, why I decided that, what I was feeling in my heart, and I was discussing with Brother Rasaji here, that, I've always talked about mindset, personal development, spiritual development, spiritual connection. And I've been, Tony Robbins events, walked on the coals, the hot coals. I'm talking about where they laid the coals out and I was the second person in line and they just put a new batch of the hot coals on there, walking over them, the glass, eating the glass, done amazing things. And Brother Rasaji has done it too. But I've never found and studied, different books on mindset. I like to read. I'm a reader. I like to read books. I like to hold them in my hand. I that's the best way for me to learn, reading books. But I've done a lot of that over the last few decades. And, over the last year, implementing what I've learned in the circle of life, implementing what Bokanathra found out in nature from the angels and the exercises that literally just open up all your energy portals in your body, teach you how to breathe properly, where you're getting more oxygen into all your organs, and you learn how to breathe in energy, and your connection with the divine creator strengthens 100-fold or more. Man, I've never seen the type of progress that I've seen that has happened in the last 14 months now. And not that my life every day has is like with not, let's just say, I don't want to say problem, but things that come up that before the Patriot would get really crazy about, but takes things very calm and cool and collective. This is amazing stuff. I'm reading some of the comments about some of the people going through the 45-day challenge, and they feel calm. They're not stressed. I mean, 86, I think it's 86%, don't take it exact, but it's a high 80 percentile of people that go to the hospital. They're from anxiety attacks, stress. We're getting bombarded with frequencies that we shouldn't be getting bombarded with. The TV set, by the way, is one of the worst. Television. And we've got all this negative frequency being thrown at us, 5G, EMF radiation, all kinds of stuff going on. And, you got to do something about it. You got to strengthen your armor of God. You got to strengthen your spiritual connection. And you'll really, when you start doing that, things start happening for you so quickly. And even people in your family members, you start noticing a difference with them because you're like this core energy of this, you're just radiating this energy out, and it is affecting your family members. I'm seeing it happen right here in my home. Okay. Besides what I'm seeing happen from the testimonials that we're getting. So I'm really super excited, as you can tell, about that. And I'm going to tell people the truth of what I'm seeing happen. And hopefully they'll take the time out and experience it for themselves. And once they experience it, you won't want to miss it. Okay. You will not want to miss the 20 some minutes a day that it takes you to walk through that process of meditation and exercises, and then put that hour or half an hour into prayer and meditation, and and do your exercise, get all that stuff done in the morning. A lot of people say, well, Jimmie, I don't have any time for that. Get up earlier. Get up earlier. Look at what you're doing. Do a column exercise and see what's wasting your time and what's serving your time. Because if it ain't serving your time to step into your full power and become the person that you were destined to become by the creator, then you're wasting your time. Okay. So that's just a little bit of advice from the Patriot here. Back to the Lama. Brother Lama, how does the world work after the RV has happened? So we know that this RV is going to transition over a few years. maybe, it could be 2, it could be 4, it could be 5. There's a lot to transition. This isn't just a little thing to transition. This is a whole world that needs to transition. What do you think's what the world's gonna look like after all this transition happens?
So according to the Lama theory, Jimmy, it's a good question, and that is the biggest part of what has already started, that's already 6 to 18 months old. Let me say that again. That's already 6 to 18 months old, is going to happen between now and 2033. So the bulk of this transition, 80 to 90% of it, you can look for it to happen. So that's still plenty of time for people to get more spiritually connected than they've ever had, to choose your friends, your loved ones, and especially your business partners wisely over
Yes.
the next decade. Absolutely, all of us have had experiences. There's a joke in America. It's like everybody has to have at least one marriage in order to know how to do it right. It's kind of a joke around here. And that joke is so evident that my wife from the Philippines, they talk about America in that way. So they talk about it because divorce and separation is so easy. You see, it's a funny thing, but the relationships that we have, I'm going to tell you this, and this is right from my 8th chapter in the Circle of Life intro. As you know, Jimmie, we're going to be completely redoing that series this year, beginning next month. And in the process, the human relationships are so undervalued. And you want to choose your significant other and your business partners that they are grounded spiritually, very grounded spiritually. And then they see the same way that you see down the corridor. They might not always approach everything the same because we have different personalities. We're all born at different animal zodiacs, yearly, monthly, astrological, all that stuff influences who we are. Our past lives influence who we are, and our passions influence who we are. But ironically, with the 45-day challenge and downloading the column exercise, you can get about 90% accurate. And the rest of it, Abba, your Holy Father, can fill in the blanks. But he doesn't want us to sit there, Jimmie, and do nothing.
Of
This
course.
is not going to be the age where you can sit on the side anymore. You can't
Wait a
no
minute. Are
longer
you
show.
telling me I can't get billions of dollars for these $100 trillion Zimbabwe notes? Is that what
Yeah,
you're telling me?
yeah. I got to tell you guys a story you'll appreciate. Love my children dearly. I'm proud to be a llama, but I'm much more proud to be a father and a grandfather. And it's not a role that's easy, as any of you that are good parents are. There's really no operational manual on how to do this really correctly. But I got to tell you, we were trying to get my youngest son, Chin, when he was 5 into martial arts. And he's a 12-year-old second degree black belt that has to test 7 times in the next 2 years just to get his third degree black belt. Imagine he has to test an hour and a half, right? Which includes forms, weapon, sparring without a club, sparring with a club. He has to do that for 7 times. So at 5 years old, we're trying to figure out how are we going to get our 5-year-old, who's this free spirit as you can imagine, into martial art training. So I go to this martial arts school, and out they have an outside box on their store when they're not there for you to pick up information. So we open it up, and there's a 3x5 postcard size that says, "Let your children train where the Ninja Turtles train." I knew the moment I saw that my son was at his grandmother's. I went over there. I walked in. I said, Chin, would you love to train martial arts where the Ninja Turtles train? Well, here he is today at 12 years old. He would never miss an episode of the Ninja Turtles, but nor would he miss a chance to train. He's 12 with the 16-year-olds at black belt class. Now, see, I'm not by any means a perfect father, but I know the Holy Spirit has guided me to do something right when my 12-year-old still likes plushies. He still likes to watch the Ninja Turtle and SpongeBob, but he loves to kick butt with the 16-year-olds in black belt class. See, I think this tells us who we're becoming. You know, there was one episode where the Ninja Turtles, one of the turtles, all of them specialized in one weapon. So one was the bow staff, one was the sword, one was the scythe, and the other one was the nunchucks. But with one episode where one of the Ninja Turtles took all four of the weapons and realized that he needed to become proficient at all. Jimmie, this is the environment we're moving into, brother. I go back to what I said about the portfolio. We need an energy portfolio more than a financial portfolio based on the intrinsic values of certain assets in the world, and start to view assets as currency. But always remember the most important thing: energy is the currency of life. Energy. We are in the age of energy, communication, and movement. And if we're on the track, we're honoring, how can I move better? How can I move more? How can I communicate better? How can I reach out and help my brother and my sister more? And how can I access energy? Because energy medicine, the communication, this is our future. If you put yourself in line with the attributes of this age, you really can't go wrong. Back to you, Jimmie.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. And we're going to open it up for questions as soon as we get a couple other questions done that we had for the show. But so the world after the RV, let's talk about that a little bit more, Brother Rasaji, because, you know, in you said 2033, this thing could be, worked on, the going through, because there's a lot of nations on this planet. And so 2033, I'll still be a young 67, about a quarter of the age I'm going to be. And so, a very interesting thing here. But, we all have to work on making this world a better place for the future generations, like your son, Chen, which you've done a wonderful job with, that I've been and my wife have had the opportunity to meet him in person and love on him and him love on us. I mean, just a beautiful young man. You can feel the energy from this young man. It's just, like you said, he is like a ninja warrior, but yet he's playing with plushie toys and watching the Ninja Turtles. So, on one hand, he's just this beautiful, kind, loving soul. But on the other hand, he's a freaking warrior that can protect his family and all of that. That's what we all need to be. We want to be loved, we want to, but we also have to be warriors to protect our families and our friends and move away from this current system that is just not serving any of us in any way in a positive way. I mean, my wife and I had this conversation this morning. Very upset she is on paying the government a dime. Okay, but me, I'm just like, okay, well, I'm working on the way to not give them Abba's money, the best I can, right? And bringing more people in my life to make that better, studying on it, and all of that. Because again, I didn't expect the blessing that was poured into what we were doing so fast. Okay, I didn't expect it in 2021. I didn't expect that quick. I couldn't believe how fast that was happening, and I wasn't really prepared for it, but I am getting real super prepared for it because we have a lamasery. We're gonna have, again for ABBA over here in North America, a circle of life community where things are self-sufficient and everything is localization. And you've got people there that love each other and that are praying for this planet. And the power coming off of this location is going to be so powerful that it's going to be like a tsunami of the Holy Spirit going through this country, okay, and through this planet. So, this is a big mission, and I'm very humbled and grateful that I'm part of the team to do this, okay? And I won't stop. The one thing you're gonna learn about me, I'm not gonna stop, okay? And I know the Lama ain't gonna stop, and I know a lot of our team members as I watch them, getting closer to the Creator, embracing these exercises from the angels to open up your own energy portals to connect that body, mind, soul, and spirit all together. So the energy that's running up and your back of your spine and down again is running the most efficient, optimized way as possible, strengthening you that you're stepping into your power more and more every single day. That's what I see happening. And I know that you had said something, Brother Rasaji, about that, if nothing happened, that we would hit the golden age here about 4200. Is that right? Am I wrong about that? Or
You're close, Jimmie. It's scheduled for 4100 AD, so you're pretty darn close, brother.
but that doesn't stop anybody from going to obtain it way before that based on what we're talking about here.
Tai Chi Gong and the Circle of Life was given to people to bring 4100 to that person's DNA today.
Right.
In other words, TNT, today, not tomorrow, right? So it's up to us because if you're hearing our voice, the way law of attraction works, and you're adhering to, in other words, we're bringing something true deep down inside of you that you've been with us long enough. We're almost approaching a year on this show. The COL will be a year old on the 4th of May. Both of these within a week are going to hit their year anniversary, which is really exciting. And it's because of you guys. But if you're really here, then that means God the Father, Abba has put his DNA from Adam all the way down to you 175,000 years ago. And it's being activated and it's being turned on. And we're supposed to come together and find those other 144,000 people around the globe. They're going to turn on their lights. And when we turn on all 144,000, the light and the energy on this planet, it'll put the whole planet into ascension. The whole planet will start vibrating 5D, not just a portal here, a portal there, a human here, a human there. One of the most major reasons that we are building the Lamasery is to do that on North American soil. We've already did this in Tibet. The Lamasery in Tibet already vibrates 5D. That's why 99.99% of people can't find it. And they can't find it for 3,000 years. The Red Army's never been able to get within 30 miles of the Lamasery. How are they going to find it if the force field around the Lamasery is 30 miles wide? How about that for self-defense? How about that vibration? Everything changes everything with vibration, right? But along the way, while you're learning to vibrate higher, be smart. Learn the principles of COL. Make yourself and your family as healthy as you can. Jimmie and Joseph and me are going to help you become more wealthy. We're going to help you find your passion. You're going to line up with us. We're going to get this done because failure is not an option here.
No, not.
It's humanity we're talking about. We're not just talking about Americans and Europeans and Chinese and Japanese. We are talking about the human race here. And the human race is depending on the lamasery. And now all of you guys are an extension of that lamasery that's been blessing people for 3,000 years. Together, we can speed this whole process up. It don't have to take thousands of years. It can be done between now and 2033. That's it. The next 10 to 12 years, just raise your hand and say, I'm called and I'm chosen and I'm ready. And if you are, then lock arms with Jimmie and me, with Tommy Truthful, with all of our whole team, and we'll get her done. Jimmie.
Yeah, and it's amazing how this whole thing with mastermind, I got to talk about this because this has to do with what should our family do, this last question. And then I'm going to show you folks some stuff. Then we're going to come back and answer some questions. But what should our family do to move forward in this new economy? And that's what we're building between Rasaji.com, Circle of Life, and mastermindwebinars.com to teach you exactly what you need to do, exactly how you need to position yourself. And the more people, there'll be people involved with us in this community. We got a lot of stuff going on. We're going to be, there's a lot of things going on, folks, that we'll be bringing out through this. But you know what's interesting too is that last year I was involved in some projects that really weren't, doing the fruit of the labor, and how the creator shed those out of my life in order to bring the mastermind back into the fray with Circle of Life, like it was the missing piece. Now, what's interesting is before I got involved in the Patriot side of I've always been a Patriot, don't get me wrong, but before I got involved in my Patriots network, where I was, I don't want to say Robert Davis Steele, but I had talked to him about the energy wellness side, and then I was seeing what he was doing, and not that anyone's a perfect person, not me, not him, no one, but I'm like, okay, you know what? Look at what's going on. I got to help my fellow Patriots move. And at that time, before that, I was working on the mastermind webinars. Now we're a year almost into Circle of Life. Abba clears the calendar for the team by shining light on bad things that these other people are doing to my team and I. And again, they're not really the good fruits of the labor. And what does he put on the top end with Circle of Life and you? Is mastermind. So, these things happen for a reason. And this is why I say Abba's will, Abba's way. Whether you say Heavenly Father's will, Heavenly Father's way, Jehovah's will, Jehovah's way, I don't care. Okay. I'm not going to get into the debate with you on that. Just pray that you have the discernment to call the creator what you're supposed to call the creator. Okay. But it's amazing when you give your free will back to the creator, how the chess pieces get moved so quick. I mean, this has happened in months. You've been right there, Brother Rasaji, watching what's been going on. And in months, these moves have been happening based on what the will of the creator is for his purpose for why I'm here. Because again, that to me is the most important thing in my life. Why I want to be doing every day, why I'm here, my purpose, why the creator brought me back in this lifetime. And I think everyone watching this live right now and everyone that watches this in the future, the recording, you need to ask your question now. You need to get in front of that mirror and do that mirror meditation. You need to, dedicate at least some time to join the Circle of Life for free and mastermind webinars for free and absorb all the free content that we have for everybody out there. And just look at what that alone will impact your life if you actually put action behind it and do it. It's amazing stuff. So I'm going to show everybody, go ahead and get your questions ready. I'm going to show everybody how you can join both of these systems, these educational systems. And by the way, education is what is growing, online education, but not where you just throw people to the wolves, but you actually help them on the journey. Remember something in life, the more people you help accomplish their destiny, the more you're going to accomplish yours. Okay. It's about helping people, how you can help people move to the next, let's say, ascend to the next level in their lives. How can you help support that? How can you help assist that? That's what you need to be thinking about. So let me go ahead and share this screen here. Let me make sure it's pulling up. All right, there we go. Hopefully I won't get blurry or furry or anything like that. Brother Lama, can you see it?
I can see and hear you, brother.
Okay, good. So very simple, Rasaji.com. When you come here, you click on the join now. It takes you, okay, I'm going to show you. It takes you right here to this page. So from here, click on join now, takes you here. You put in your email address, you click secure sign up submit, you land here, you watch this 16-minute video where I go through how to utilize this back office. Now, I will be updating this probably every other Saturday as we continue to add more value back here. We've got a lot of value in this free members area in the community. You have access to the 45-day challenge task list. You have access to all the documents. You have access to the ebook. You have access to the Lamasery updates. You have access to the gold and silver frequencies. Boy, you should be playing them every day in your environment. Every day, play those gold frequencies and silver frequencies. Get that in your matter. Help attract that into your life. Don't think about how it'll happen. The creator will make things happen and will give you the path to make it happen, right? It could be that you're doing an affiliate program and you're making gold and silver. Could be that you're now have more money than what your bills are and you're investing in gold and silver, whatever. Play the frequencies. Our brother David Paul put these together. He's a master musician. And we also have under here too, the healing frequency music. I was showing Brother Rasaji today the Google Analytics stats and what pages are getting. And this is in the top 10 pages that get seen, this section here too. A massive amount of frequencies free to you to listen to absorb into your environment. Okay. So you've got those abilities there. Again, the latest from the Lamasery, 45-day challenge task list. Documents. Here you can find the tracker for your column exercises. All of this again for you for free. So here at the Circle of Life community, under where Master Lama Rasaji is the sensei of this dojo, which works on your mindset, your personal development, your spiritual development and connection, that has testimonials that are coming out like you don't even understand until you actually go in and watch them and read them. These are real people with real results that are life-changing, and you need to watch them. And then you need to say to yourself, do I want some of this? Do I want some of this in my life or not? The fruits of the labor are plentiful in this community, in what has been built here. Now, on top of that, we're bringing in the mastermind webinar system that lets you create a free account with a click of a button again with the email, brings you into a dashboard where you now, again, watch the video, and I'll update these as this system is being updated. It is, by the way, being updated every week. There's a lot of information that's being laid out here strategically. Going into the course, doing the Mastermind 360 is what we recommend that you do. We're still working on it. Additional, we keep our members updated. We don't spam them. And you're going to be able to watch this video here, step into your power. And what is the very first thing that I've always talked about mindset, personal development, and spiritual development connection, but I've never had the results that I've had this last 14 months with the Circle of Life and Master Lama Rasaji being my teacher, right? My coach, right? I have coach. I'm a business person. I'm an entrepreneur. I have coaches in my life to help me move forward, right? And we're your coaches, all right? And then as you get closer with the creator and you get more discernment, then you are going to you're going to start stepping into your power like you never believed. But you watch this almost 2-hour webinar, and what is the first thing I recommend that you do is get an account with the Circle of Life. So these two systems, these two educational platforms, the free versions of them will transform people's lives like they've never seen before. My goal is that all these people that are out there charging grandma 5,000, 25,000, I'm putting them all out of business. Abba's putting them all out of business because we're going to give so much value for free. And then when you do go up what's called the value ladder that helps support what we are doing, what the mission is, it's so low cost that there is no barrier. Okay. We had a gentleman that at one time, about a year, I think he's been involved with us almost this whole time, maybe a couple months he came in on a mastermind webinar. He was talking about how $14.95, which is the private membership for both, by the way, a month each one. But that's the first level, $14.95, less than 50 cents a day. And he actually looked at that as expensive. Well, about 8-10 months later, he tenfolded his financial situation because he believed that tithing, because everything you do is tithing. Every single penny you spend is tithing. Where are you tithing? Column exercise. I got to do it. Brother Rasaji's got to do it. The Lama's got to do it. Our team's got to do it. We all got to do it. And if we want to see all this corruption and evil stop, we got to stop giving them our money. And we've got a plan with other people that are what we call spiritual patriots. And we'll be showing you what we're doing in May in a big way, folks. So I'm really super excited. I hope that you are too. All of you, now is the time. There's no time to waste. There's no time to wait. We are the new economy. Okay. Let me tell you something in life. Your network is your net worth. And it's not about any kind of business model, right? You've got affiliate marketing, you got network marketing, you got e-commerce, you got traditional business, you got major corporations, you got all different kinds of business models, right? But networking, who was the biggest networker on the planet that built the biggest organization on the planet? Christ. From that beginning of the Great Awakening till now, Christ has built the biggest network on this planet's ever seen. So don't think that networking isn't important. And building bigger networks, sometimes Brother Rasaji talks about the New Jerusalem. You're building your that, but you need to understand that you need to expand your network, and we're going to teach you how to do it, and do it in a loving way by doing what? Giving away free training that is life changing. Okay. And then also teaching people how to monetize their consumption through transfer spending and make a living by living. And all of us stop funding companies and people that do not have our better interest at mind. They do not. Okay? Unless we want to bow to them. I do not bow to any human being ever. I know the Lama don't either. So very exciting. Let's answer some questions here. We're at almost 90 minutes. We'll spend about a few minutes, 5 minutes or so answering questions. Go ahead and shoot. And if you want more questions answered, You know, the Lama's got his beautiful Shangri-La Fridays. Tomorrow he's going to be gone, but he's taking the family away. Won't get into all the details there, but he's got that weekly training, 2 hours, beautiful. We spend an hour answering questions. He spends an hour answering questions. Okay. And then also there's a knowledge database, but it's actually going to be part of the forum we're putting in to the private membership. Lots of good stuff happening, folks. How do we find the frequencies? I cannot find them on Circle of Life. Well, let me go back and show you. Okay. So when you get into the back office, or even if you're on the front end of the website, when you go to channels, you can get healing frequencies. That's open to the public. No problem right there. You can get all the frequencies. If you're in the back office, you've logged in, then again, channels and the healing frequencies are right here. Okay. And you can do that. They actually must have miscategorized this one, which we'll fix, but here's the healing frequencies that you can fix here. Okay. So a lot of, value on the front end for the public, but also you don't get this on the public side unless you're a member, and you don't get this either, and you don't get access to any of these. Okay. So hold on one second. Let me stop sharing screens. Hopefully I'm not blurry. Am I blurry, brother? I'm okay. Where do Advance and Plus members find Awake and Remember series? You will see it. I will show you it tomorrow. Okay. So tomorrow I will show you where it's going to be. It's in there, but I have to turn it on, and I'll show you where that's going to be. And that's all going to be updated also for the advanced members. But there's powerful information in those audios right now. Keep asking questions. You look great. Thank you very much. I don't know who you're talking about. Probably the Lama there. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Hold on. Let me see. Roger Williams, too. If you are a private member, Master Lama, go through this in detail on June. Oh, that's great. Sister Amy, June 4th, 2021 episode. So there is a lot of training in that private membership, folks. I mean, you're talking 2 hours every Friday. I think every Friday. This will be the very first Friday that Master Lama Rasaji, we're having Master David Paul in to do his exercise, and then we're going to open it up for Q&A. I'm also going to be updating on some really cool things that I'm going to be talking about. But every Friday, 2 hours. So imagine the amount of training and teaching, evergreen, not time sensitive, but evergreen training that people can pick up. And we have students that go through all that training, by the way, and report back on how they are seeing things. Listen, again, do a column exercise. What is serving you, your ascension, and what's not? And remove what's not and add what is. Keep what is, and just, you got to be aware of what you're spending your time on. And that's why I love the column exercises. Make sure that you do those, right? So we got the frequencies answered. Hold on, okay. Let me see. I noticed that both Master Lama and Jimmie have more dark hair than last year. Me too. I wish the hair on the top of my head would grow like the hair inside my ears. I would be in good shape. But I think it might be a little darker. Might be a little bit darker. But it does help. It definitely helps with so much. I'm so busy working. I am self-employed piano instructor. After I finished Federation Concerto Festival next week, I see what I can do. How do we open up time to do your training? Can we manage on 5 or 6 hours of sleep? Okay. I can promise you, you ain't as busy as I am. Capiche? You are not as busy as me or the Lama. All right? You can find the time. You can make the time. Again, do a column exercise and get rid of the things that aren't serving you and make time for the things that are going to serve you. I work lots of hours, okay? but I have the time. I make the time for this. This is the most important thing. Because if you make the time for this, all that other stuff you're doing is going to go much smoother and it's going to be much better for you. So make the time. You can make it. No, you can and you will. No, you can't and you won't. Right? So make the time. Make the time. Let me go through. There's some different questions here. Yeah, I know it's my grandson's birthday there, son. I know he's a big 16 years old today. My grandson Carmine Schwinn. So happy birthday to Carmine Schwinn. Grandpa, we'll see what we're going to get you this weekend. You know, I told him we'll find out. But I know when I was 16 years old, I wanted to drive. I was driving when I was 15. I won my car, and I know his other grandma and some people got him a car. So maybe he needs some insurance and stuff like that too, huh? But 16, boy. Look how fast Chin, wasn't it? It's just his birthday. And you had a picture of him when he was just like 5, and now he's 12. And it just goes like this. I mean, folks, it's Thursday again. It's almost bleeding into the weekends. It's going so fast now. Is everyone feeling how fast it's going? All right. Well, listen, folks, we love you very much. Brother Rasaji, Brother Lama, why don't you give the prayer and blessing on all our folks? Turn your mic on.
Thank you, Heavenly Father, for bringing all of us together today in your light and in your love. Thank you that your anointment is on us and on our families and on our friends. Thank you, our countries that we live in. It is flowing freely. Boy, the pipes and all the angels with all the glories from heavens are pouring through all of us. You can feel the anointing of the living Christ on us all, showing us how to have that spiritual and perfect body that Jesus stayed around for 40 days and showed us what is our potential. Thank you that the 144,000 souls on this planet are waking up to your love and to your light and your abundance. Thank you that you pour out constantly your love, your grace, and your protection of everyone that can hear your words coming through Jimmie and me. This is your show. This is your light. It's your love and anointment. We are your humble servants. And to you, we give all the glory. Amen.
We love you, brothers and
Love you
sisters.
guys.
Have a wonderful day. We will see you here next week. Take care and be blessed.